Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the PropTech Bulgaria event. Today is Diana speaking again, and I would like to introduce you Mr. Dietmar Ruttensteiner. He is the CEO of Ruttensteiner Creating Solution and Ruttensteiner Market Entry Austria. Throwing a glance to his autobiography, I just can name him as the golden key to enter the Austrian market. If you have a business or just a rising startup, he is the one. His company is consulting firms from west to east, not only in Europe, in Brazil, Russia, India, Egypt, and even America. And please, Dietmar, take your place. I believe the audience is already waiting for you to share your know-how and how to succeed in your country. Please.
Diana, thank you for the introduction. I will give you in the next round about 20 minutes an overview. Why is Austria the best springboard for successful and business expansion? For that, I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation that I will show you. At first, I will give you some information what you will hear in the next round about 20 minutes. A few words about myself, Austria as a brief overview, the advantages of Austrian market, and for sure also the most important points, how you can do business in Austria. Some words to my person. I was born in 1971 in Upper Austria, and I founded my agency in the year 1993. Our business is at legal and strategy advice for companies who wants to do business here in Austria, or they want to expand their business. For that, we do also operative activities like sales, advice, presentations, we make fairs and so on for our clients. My person, I also be a speaker and lecturer in the subject of market entry and expansion in different countries like Poland, Kazakhstan, Germany, and so on. I have several educations from technical aspect like computer technologies, but also psychology topics and economy topics. In Austria, I'm also European Municipal Councillor and expert lay judge for labor and social law. It's important for my clients because so they can be safe and sure that the information what I give my clients is real. Let us come to a brief overview from Austria. Austria has around about 9 million inhabitants, is around about 84,000 square kilometers. Great. You know, it's a member of the European Union. And for you, it's important the structure of the economy. Austria has around about 340,000 small and medium-sized enterprises. That's important that you can check, is this your target or not? Because if you have the target to big companies, then it wouldn't be the right place in Austria. But if you are looking for international companies, they are linked around the world, then it's be the right place for you. And also if you want to do business with small and medium-sized enterprises. These small companies are profitable companies. That's also important because there are so many countries in the world that have also a lot of small or medium-sized enterprises, but they aren't really profitable. Here in Austria, we have a return every year from around about 5%. And another number that's, in my opinion, it's very important for you. Startups died in every country. And here in Austria, we have an average of, after 5 years of survival, greater than in the rest of the European Union. Yeah? It's not only for the good engineers and so on, it's also because we have various grants and support from the government for our small and medium-sized enterprises and for startups. Yeah? That's important, in special, very, very important in days like now. You know what I mean, the Corona COVID-19 situation. One example, if a company, a small company, must close the shops, then they get around about up to 2,000 euros per month from the state, and they haven't paid back this amount. So that's really important, because if you plan to expand in a new country, then you have to decide, is this a safe country? What is when something goes wrong, and so on. And this, I would say, is a very important advantage from Austria, from the government side. And this brings me to the next slide, the advantages from the Austrian market. One of them, I'm sure, is the central location. You be around about within 2, maybe up to 3 hours in every country in the European Union. Yeah. AG to Frankfurt in around about 1 and 50 minutes, 1 hour and 50 minutes, to London in 2.5, Moscow 3, and so on. Sure, in these days it's a little bit more difficult, you know, not every airplane is in plan. But in general, it would be easy. Yeah? And Austria has always been an international trade hub. That means we have a lot of international companies, huge companies here in Austria with offices, where you can go in touch with them if you want to go broader in your expansion. Yeah. So if you be based here in Austria, you have a good opportunity to make business here in Austria, but also to go in touch with international companies and go abroad from Austria in the next step. Sure, Austria has a good reputation within the European Union, but also of the outside from the European Union. And now let me give you a very, very, very important point. German is the most widely spoken official language in the European Union. This means for around about 100 million inhabitants, you need just one manual in one language. You need just one menu in one language. You don't have to translate it in different languages. Yeah? If you go to the United Kingdom, you have English as official language, but just with 56 million inhabitants roundabout. Yeah? So German is one of the important languages here in the European Union. And so you can design an app, a platform, whatever, or a product. Sometimes you have to make safety or installment manuals, then you can use it in one language. Sometimes you have to do trainings, you can do it in one language. You can do the same here in Austria, in Germany, Switzerland, South Tyrol, Liechtenstein, and so on. It's a very important point, because every translation costs money and time. Yeah? So keep in mind, just one language, and you can start here in Austria, I would say around about 10 times cheaper than in Germany. That's also a very important point. And a special thing for you as a person or company from Bulgaria, Austria has a similar small business enterprise structure as in your home country. And as I have mentioned before, Austria promotes and supports its companies with a lot of opportunities and grants, funds, tax savings, and so on. Especially in days like this, we see it every day when I get information and news from colleagues from around the world. Diana has told you in the introduction that we have partners in Brazil and so on. They haven't not so many advantages in grant supports, funds, and so on as here in Austria. But it's too short the time that I can give you more details in this direction. Yeah, and stable economy outlook, no changes in the economic framework. You know what I mean? I mean the Brexit. So here in Austria, we will be stable, and the economic framework will be the same this year, next year, and in 5 years, and so on. So let us come to the last, and I would say the important slide for you: how you can do business here in Austria. The first is for companies, they are only be online. They sell programs, they have platforms, they have some other stuff in the internet. For that companies, it's really easy. You just apply for a tax number and you can do business. But online, just in the internet business, it isn't allowed to send salesperson to Austria that they make sales here in Austria. It's online. But if you have an online business, then you can do this in this way. It's easy. If you do it by your own, then it's just, I would say, 10 or 20 euros or so. If you let the application do by a consultant or by an accountant, then count around about 150 euros. Okay, but it's just a tax number. It's no possibility to get funds, grants, and so on. The next step would be the one-man business. It's also an easy way, but in this business form, you have to move to Austria. Okay, so it isn't just possible if you move to Austria and then you can open a one-man business here in Austria, because you are responsible with everything what you have, also with the private assets and so on. But the setup costs are cheap, around about 1,000 euros. The next thing is, if you have already a company in your home country, then you can start with a branch, and that's really a really good opportunity. It's easy to found, easy to register. You have a real company here in Austria. You can do everything what you do in your business here in Austria. You can send employees from your home country to Austria. You can apply for funds, grants, and so on. The running costs are cheap, just around about 500 euros per month. The founding and registration costs are also not so high, around about 4,000 euros, and you have a company here in Austria, because it's a real company, not independent, but it's a real company. And the last one would be the normal company, I would say. Yeah, everyone knows it. In other countries, it's the name limited. Here in Austria, we call it GmbH, Gesellschaft mit begrenzter Haftung. That's the common company form here in Austria. You can set it up fully independent from your mother country. Yeah? You can use several owners and partners. But in comparison to the branch, here you need a managing director. And this costs every month around about 2,500 up to 3,000 euros. And this person must live here in Austria, in the near of the company. The total costs of the founding of a GmbH, you can count round about 9,000 up to 11,000 euros. This is including the minimum of 5,000 euros initial start share capital. Yeah? That's the minimum. So you can decide what is the best way for you. You have the option just only apply for a tax number, then you can do business here in Austria online, Amazon or your own platform or whatever. You can, if you want to move to Austria, you can make a one business company. If you have already a company in your home country, then I would say the best would be the branch, because it's easy to start up, to set it up. It's also easy to close it. It's not so complicated. Or if you know your business will going fine, then you can found a limited. And just for explanation, it is possible to expand every one of these kinds of company to the next. That means you can start with a branch in Austria and everything goes fine, then you can expand and reorganize the branch to your own GmbH here in Austria. And for every points on this slide is we can do all things what are necessary that you can start your company here in Austria. Because you need some documents notarized, translated, you have to apply at the Chamber of Commerce, you make application at the business registration court, you need to register at the tax office. If your employer or your manager wants to move to Austria to do business here or make sales here in Austria, is it necessary to apply a resident permit? Also, when the person is within the European Union, then he needs it after 3 months. If you want to send some of your special workers to a construction site here to Austria, then we can support you also. That you can send workers, fitters and so on to your construction site, it's necessary at least that you have a branch or a GmbH. Yes, so that was a real compressed and short overview over Austria. I thank you for your attention, and our philosophy is that we do everything to ensure that our clients achieve their goals. That means we are more than just a consulting agency, because we do also real activities, not only paperwork. We go outside to the possible clients of our clients, that they can do business as fast as possible, and with the secure that everything is correct under Austrian law. In this sense, I say thank you for your audience.
Thank you, Dietmar. The information that you shared is very valuable, and I believe that our audience is already keen on this topic. But I want to ask you a question. Due to Corona crisis, and we discussed this topic earlier today in the previous hot ateliers, could you analyze and describe how the business is developing in this Corona crisis, and is it more complicated to enter the Austrian market?
Okay, it isn't so difficult. Sure, there are some new options, there are some new rules, but it isn't more complicated than before the Corona crisis. Why? It is easy to say. We do everything for our clients. It wasn't necessary before the Corona crisis that our clients come to Austria. We do everything. We register the company at the chamber, at the court, tax office, and so on. We take over all necessary steps. The only thing what we need is a power of attorney. And if our clients want to move or want to come to Austria, is it necessary that they have a negative coronavirus test? That's all. And sure, to find the correct fly or the correct train. It's also a little bit more difficult in these days, but not so much. So I would say, in a short sentence, no, it isn't more difficult than before, but now it's the best opportunity to set up a new business for the time after the corona crisis.
Thank you. And is it Austria a good place to introduce a startup? Because we
Sure.
talked, yeah.
Yes, yeah, definitive. Also in this short sentence, yes, because the Austrian regulations, the government, the state set up a lot of funds and grants that helps the companies to start, and that's the important thing, to keep alive. So there are so many countries where you can start up with a new idea, but if something goes not the normal way, then you be bankrupt. In Austria, it isn't so dangerous because you get a lot of money from the state, that you stay alive, and that you can set up your business successful.
Thank you for this answer. And we're gonna see each other maybe later. I believe that the audience is already kept but everything that you said. So we are moving to our next hot topic atelier, and I would like to thank you again for providing this information and open the market.
You're welcome. A warm greetings from Austria. Bye.
Thank you.